Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up every morning with a heart full of peace, no matter what happens around you. Imagine walking into any situation, any conversation, any challenge, without ever feeling offended, frustrated, or angry. Sounds impossible? It's not. The reason most people are easily angered is because they have given away control of their emotions to others. But what if I told you that no one has the power to make you angry unless you give it to them? Inner peace is not just an idea or a state of mind. It's a force so strong that when you master it, nothing and no one can shake you. But most people do not realize that this kind of peace is something they can control. They think peace is something that happens when everything around them is calm, when people treat them well, and when life is free from problems. That is why they are always at the mercy of circumstances, tossed around by every difficult situation, every rude comment, and every unexpected challenge. True peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of control over your emotions despite trouble. It is the ability to walk into chaos and remain unmoved. It is the strength to hear criticism and not be offended. It is the wisdom to be surrounded by negativity and still choose to respond with calmness. This kind of peace is not something the world can give you. It is something you cultivate within yourself. The reason why many people live in frustration, constantly getting angry and bothered by others, is because they have never taken control of their inner world. They let their emotions be dictated by the actions of others. If someone insults them, they react. If someone disagrees with them, they get defensive. If things don't go their way, they become frustrated. But what if you could train yourself to remain unshaken, no matter what happens around you? What if you could build a level of peace so strong that it becomes your natural state of being? Think about the strongest, most successful, and most disciplined people in the world. They do not waste their energy reacting to every little thing that happens around them. They do not let small offenses or minor inconveniences control their emotions. They have learned that inner peace is the greatest power they can possess because it allows them to move through life with clarity, confidence, and wisdom. Anger is a thief. It robs you of your joy, your focus, and your time. Every time you allow yourself to get angry or bothered, you are giving away your power to something outside of you. But when you cultivate inner peace, you take that power back. You become the one in control. Imagine living in a way where no matter what happens, you remain calm, collected, and full of wisdom. This is not just an unrealistic dream. It is something you can achieve. Gabe, the secret to this level of peace lies in your perspective. You must understand that no one has the ability to control your emotions unless you allow them to. People will always do things that could potentially upset you, but you get to decide whether you will let those things affect you. When you grasp this truth, you step into a new level of personal strength. Instead of reacting to everything, you start choosing your responses wisely. Instead of being emotionally controlled by others, you become the master of your own peace. And once you reach this level, you will never go back to being easily angered or disturbed by anyone again. The illusion of control is one of the greatest sources of frustration and anger in life. Many people believe that they can control how others think, speak, or behave. They believe that if they say the right words, act in a certain way, or try hard enough, they can change people's actions and attitudes. But the reality is that no one has the power to control another person. The only thing you truly have control over is yourself, your thoughts, your reactions, and your emotions. The moment you try to control others, you set yourself up for constant disappointment, frustration, and anger. Think about how much energy people waste trying to get others to act the way they want. They get upset when people don't appreciate them, they get angry when someone disagrees with them, and they feel frustrated when others do things differently. But the truth is, no one is obligated to behave according to your expectations. People will always act based on their own experiences, beliefs, and emotions, not yours. When you realize this, you begin to free yourself from the unnecessary burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. One of the biggest reasons people get offended is because they take things personally. They assume that when someone is rude, disrespectful, or unkind, it is a direct attack on them. But in reality, people's actions are a reflection of their own internal state. A person who is constantly angry is usually dealing with their own personal struggles. Someone who is disrespectful may have been raised in an environment where kindness was never taught. When you recognize that people's actions are not always about you, you stop reacting emotionally to everything they do. The key to remaining unbothered is shifting your focus from controlling others to controlling yourself. Instead of expecting people to change your response to them. Instead of getting angry when someone mistreats you, choose to see it as a test of your emotional strength. Instead of feeling the need to correct or argue with someone who has a different opinion, Remind yourself that their perspective does not have the power to disrupt your peace. When you master this mindset, you will realize that nothing and no one can make you feel angry unless you allow it. The reason so many people struggle with anger is because they are constantly resisting reality. They refuse to accept that people will be who they are regardless of what they say or do. But when you embrace the truth that you cannot control others, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop expecting people to act a certain way. You stop feeling frustrated when things don't go as planned. Instead, you begin to flow with life, responding to situations with wisdom instead of reacting with emotions. When you let go of the illusion of control, you gain something far greater: freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from anger, and freedom from constantly being disturbed by what others do. And once you experience that freedom, you will never want to live any other way. The root of offense is not in what people say or do, it is in how you interpret it. No one can truly offend you unless you give them permission. The moment you realize this, you take back control over your emotions. Most people believe that offense is automatic, that if someone disrespects them, they have no choice but to feel hurt or angry. But offense is a reaction, and all reactions are choices. If someone insults you, you have two options. You can take it personally, allowing it to disturb your peace, or you can recognize that their words have no real power over you unless you allow them to. One of the biggest reasons people get offended so easily is because they tie their self-worth to the opinions of others. They believe that if someone disrespects them, it is a reflection of their value. But the truth is, your worth is not determined by what others say about you. It is not measured by how people treat you. If you truly understand your value, then no amount of insult, criticism, or negativity can shake you. A diamond remains a diamond even if someone calls it a rock. Likewise, your identity remains the same, regardless of what people say. People often take offense because they expect others to behave in a certain way. They believe that respect should always be given, that kindness should always be reciprocated, and that fairness should always be practiced. But the reality is, the world does not operate on your expectations. People will say and do things that are unfair, unkind, and disrespectful. If you go through life expecting everyone to treat you well, you will be constantly disappointed. But if you accept the truth that people will act according to their own nature, sometimes out of ignorance, pain, or insecurity, you free yourself from the emotional trap of offense. Many times, what offends us the most is not even the words themselves, but the meaning we attach to them. Two people can hear the same insult, and one will shrug it off, while the other will dwell on it for days. The difference is in perspective. When you choose to see an offense as insignificant, as a reflection of the other person's character rather than yours, it loses its power over you. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with wisdom. Instead of being emotionally controlled by others, you remain steady and unmoved. Choosing not to be offended does not mean you allow disrespect or tolerate mistreatment. It simply means you refuse to let someone else's negativity disturb your peace. It means that you decide which battles are worth fighting and which are simply distractions. Not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every insult needs to be addressed. When you understand this, you become stronger, wiser, and far more in control of your emotions than the person trying to provoke you. At the end of the day, offense is a choice. You can either let the words of others dictate your emotions, or you can rise above it, understanding that their words only have power if you give it to them. The most powerful person in the room is not the loudest, not the most aggressive, but the one who remains unshaken, unmoved, and completely in control of their own peace. The way you see a situation determines how you react to it. Perspective is everything. Two people can experience the exact same event. One gets angry and frustrated, while the other remains calm and unaffected. The difference is not in what happened, but in how they chose to interpret it. When you change the way you look at situations, you change the way you respond to them. Most anger and frustration come from misunderstanding, from seeing things only from your own point of view and failing to consider a different angle. But the moment you shift your perspective, you gain control over your emotions and stop being easily disturbed. Many times, people assume that others are intentionally trying to hurt them or make their lives difficult. They take things personally, believing that every action is directed at them. But in reality, most people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. They are dealing with their own struggles, insecurities, and frustrations. A rude cashier might not be trying to offend you. They may be going through a personal crisis. A friend who ignores your message may not be disrespecting you. They might be overwhelmed with their own responsibilities. A coworker who takes credit for your idea might not be malicious. They could simply be insecure and desperate for approval. When you start to see situations through this lens, you stop reacting with anger and start responding wisdom. Perspective also allows you to recognize the temporary nature of most problems. Many of the things that upset you today will not matter in a week, a month, or a year. Yet, people waste precious energy reacting to situations that will soon be forgotten. Ask yourself, will this matter in the long run? If the answer is no, then it is not worth your peace. Successful and emotionally strong people do not waste time being bothered by minor issues. They focus on what truly matters. They understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult is worth acknowledging. Another powerful shift in perspective is learning to see challenges as opportunities for growth. When you encounter a difficult person or a frustrating situation, you can view it as a test of your emotional strength. Instead of seeing it as an attack, see it as a chance to practice patience, wisdom, and control. Every time you remain calm in a difficult situation, you are training yourself to be stronger. Every time you choose not to react to negativity, you are building emotional discipline. When you start seeing challenges this way, they stop making you angry and start making you better. The way you see the world shapes the way you experience it. If you believe that people are out to get you, you will always feel defensive. If you believe that small problems are major crises, you will always feel overwhelmed. But if you believe that every situation carries a lesson, that most people are acting from their own struggles, and that your peace is more valuable than any offense, you will move through life with unshakable calmness. Perspective is the key to emotional mastery, and once you change how you see things, you will never be easily bothered again. Emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful traits a person can develop, and at the core of it lies the ability to control your reactions. Many people believe that reacting with anger or aggression is a sign of strength, that speaking louder, defending every opinion, and confronting every offense makes them powerful. But in reality, true strength is found in restraint. The person who can remain calm in the face of provocation is far more powerful than the one who explodes in anger. Controlling your emotions is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom and maturity. When you react impulsively to situations, you give away your power. If someone can make you angry with a single word, that means they control you. If a situation can ruin your entire day, that means your peace is fragile. But when you master emotional intelligence, you become unshakable. You recognize that not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every disagreement requires a debate. And not every problem needs to disturb your peace. The ability to pause before reacting, to evaluate a situation with logic rather than emotion, is what separates those who live in frustration from those who live in peace. Think about the most successful and influential people in the world. They do not waste time getting caught up in petty arguments, reacting to criticism, or defending themselves against every insult. Instead, they understand that their energy is valuable. They choose where to direct their focus, and they do not allow negativity to drain them. Every time you react emotionally, you give a piece of your power to someone else. But every time you choose to remain calm, to think before speaking, to walk away from unnecessary conflict, you strengthen yourself. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that controlling emotions means suppressing them. That is not true. Emotional intelligence does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means understanding them, managing them, and responding in a way that benefits you. It means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to stand firm and when to let things go. It means recognizing that your emotions are tools, not masters, that they should serve you, not control you. Anger, frustration, and irritation are natural emotions, but they do not have to dictate your actions. When you feel anger rising, take a moment to step back. Ask yourself, is this reaction worth my energy? Will this situation matter tomorrow? Is my response helping or harming me? Most of the time, you will realize that the best response is to remain calm, composed, and in control. Mastering emotional intelligence is one of the greatest strengths you can develop because it gives you freedom. Freedom from being controlled by others, freedom from unnecessary stress, and freedom to focus on what truly matters. The ability to control your emotions is not just a skill, it is a form of power. And once you develop it, you will never allow anyone or anything to disturb your peace again. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and liberating choices a person can make. Many people carry anger, resentment, and bitterness because they believe holding on to these emotions gives them power over those who wrong them. They think that by staying angry, they are somehow punishing the other person. But the truth is, unforgiveness does not hurt the person who offended you. It hurts It keeps you trapped in a cycle of negativity, constantly reliving the pain and allowing someone else's actions to control your emotions. True freedom comes when you release that burden and choose to forgive. Forgiveness does not mean that what the other person did was right. It does not mean that you condone their actions or that you allow them to continue hurting you. It simply means that you refuse to let their actions dictate your peace. It means that you take back control over your emotions and refuse to live under the weight of anger. When you hold on to resentment, it poisons your heart and clouds your mind. It steals your joy, disrupts your focus, and keeps you emotionally tied to a person or situation that no longer deserves your energy. Many people struggle with forgiveness because they believe it is about the other person. But forgiveness is not about them, it is about you. It is about setting yourself free from the emotional prison of anger and bitterness. It is about choosing peace over pain, wisdom over revenge, and freedom over bondage. The moment you decide to forgive, you release yourself from the hold that situation has on your life. You no longer allow it to control your thoughts, dictate your emotions, or shape your future. Another reason people find it difficult to forgive is that they believe they must feel like forgiving before they do it. But forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a decision. If you wait until you feel like forgiving, you may never do it. Forgiveness is an act of strength, a conscious choice to rise above the hurt and move forward. When you make that decision, your emotions will eventually align with it. Over time, you will find that what once made you angry no longer affects you. What once disturbed your peace now seems insignificant. That is the power of forgiveness. There is a level of peace that only comes when you let go of resentment. Imagine waking up every day with a clear heart, free from the weight of past offenses. Imagine no longer being triggered by certain people or situations because you have chosen to rise above them. That kind of peace is priceless. It allows you to focus on your growth, your happiness, and your purpose instead of being weighed down by negativity. Forgiveness is not always easy, but it is always worth it. The strongest people in the world are not those who seek revenge or hold on to grudges. They are those who have mastered the ability to forgive, move on, and remain unshaken. When you embrace this mindset, no offense, no insult, and no betrayal will ever have the power to disturb your peace again. The ability to remain unshaken, unbothered, and at peace no matter what happens around you is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. True power is not in controlling others. It is in mastering yourself. It is an understanding that no one has the ability to make you angry, offended, or disturbed unless you allow them to. When you realize that your emotions are within your control, you stop reacting to negativity and start responding with wisdom. You must understand that people will always be people. They will say things, do things, and act in ways that may not align with your expectations. But instead of letting their actions dictate your emotions, choose to rise above it. Let go of the illusion of control. Stop taking things personally. Shift your perspective, master your reactions, and embrace the power of forgiveness. When you do this, you step into a level of peace that no insult, no disagreement, and no betrayal can shake. And life is too short to waste energy on anger, frustration, and offense. Your peace is too valuable to be given away so easily. The strongest, wisest, and most successful people are not those who react to every situation. They are those who choose their battles, protect their energy, and remain calm in the face of chaos. From this moment on, make the decision that no one will have the power to control your emotions but you. Choose peace over anger. Choose wisdom over reaction. Choose freedom over resentment. When you embrace this mindset, you will walk through life with an unshakable confidence, a steady heart, and a peace that cannot be disturbed. And when you master this, you will never be angry or bothered by anyone again.